What is up, everybody? We are live. It is week 3 of Border Rivals, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be live yet another week. I'm here with my co-host, Zach,
How's it going?
and we're here to talk football and amongst other few things today.
Yeah, every week the pre-show shenanigans gets better and better and better.
Oh, God. Yeah, we're going to have to – well, no, we can't record that part.
No, never.
But we can tell you all that it gets pretty funny in here.
I think the addition of Cam and Daniel has been the greatest thing that we've come up with yet.
It's been good. It's for one. I mean, listen to us. We already sound better. We look better.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a win-win. I think they're doing an outstanding job. Very, very proud of everything, how things are coming together, and yeah, good addition. But yeah, back to what you said, the shenanigans. That's to put it lightly.
Yeah, it is. We do a lot of laughing before the show starts.
Yeah, a lot. And but it's been yes, Kentucky got. Let's see. Looks like a rat tail in front. Yeah, it's a little weird. My bad.
Yeah, that is a chip holder. And actually, I tried to find one for the Vols the other day and did find one.
Yeah, my hair does look weird on camera there. I need to fix that. Anyways,
That's why I wear a hat. I don't have to deal with it.
yeah, I guess I'll start wearing a hat. It's kind of I'm thinning in front, you know. So
Getting
I'm
old.
holding on to it as long as I can, but you know, sometimes you got to own it. If you're a little bald, you're a little bald. So
Getting old.
getting old. But anyways, football.
Football.
So Tennessee scored a lot of points this week,
Yeah, like they do.
like they do.
Like they do.
Anything stand out to you?
I don't want to run down the Tennessee program, so I may regret saying anything like this. But the good news is, like, with this being like a half Tennessee show, half Kentucky show, half the people will be like, "Oh my God, he's so right." Hendon Hooker doesn't look as accurate to me this year as he did last year, and that was like game 1, okay. Game 2, you're like, now it's game 3, and he's still launching balls over people's heads, overthrowing receivers. Some of those deep balls that our receivers are coming back to get, they would be touchdowns automatically if he would throw it further.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to get a little nervous. I'm not like super nervous. He's still a great quarterback.
Yeah.
But I've noticed a very distinct difference when Joe Milton goes into the game, you know, in cleanup time.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't underthrow anybody, and he's starting to look solid. Like I'm like beginning to get excited for next year already, and we're not even into this year yet.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get a little nervous about Hendon Hooker, just a tiny bit. It may straighten itself out, but he doesn't seem as accurate this year as he did last year, and that's a concern of mine going into Florida week.
Oh, and it is Florida week. This is a big week for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Kentucky already took care of Florida. It's a big game. I mean, this is huge because this is the step that you guys haven't taken in many years. You've had this opportunity many times.
Yeah.
And it just seems to fall short. But I think if you just handle business and play your game, I mean, you're at home, so that's a big advantage.
It is.
I really think Tennessee should win this game, which I know, go back in time, that's been the story a lot of years, is Tennessee should have won the game. But I really believe this is going to be the year y'all break that and finally get the W on Florida and go 4-0.
Here's the thing, though. Florida to us is the way Tennessee is to you all. There have been plenty of times over the past several years that Kentucky has been the better team going into the Tennessee-Kentucky game, and Tennessee still walks in and beats you like a drum. And Florida does that to us a lot.
Well, I don't think Tennessee's beat Kentucky like a drum in quite some time. Last year it was, a 4-point win?
Sure, last year was a very close game.
The year before it was there's been a couple, but the year before
there's been a couple where it's not really, and it's been like Tennessee's worst years against Kentucky's best years.
Namely 2018 when, you know, Kentucky had that great run and come to Knoxville and just got a tail whipping. I mean, they really did. I hate to admit that.
And I don't mean any offense by that. That's just, it is what it is. You feel like your team's better. And on paper and everything that you've seen, they are better. And for some reason, Tennessee or Florida, in our case, walks in and wins. And you make a backup QB, he looks like a Heisman candidate. Ridiculous game. And it's frustrating. It's infuriating. And it's why I'm nervous about this weekend. Because I agree. I think Tennessee should win this game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the objective is to score at least one more point than your
Score more points than your
enemy.
opponent. Yeah, that's the objective of the game for sure.
And Tennessee scores a lot of points, even in games they don't play particularly well in. They should win this game. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm nervous about it.
Yeah. I do think this year, I mean, Florida's just not, they almost lost South Florida, which, I mean, come on, when a team plays a lower level team, it's hard to judge by that. It really is. Like, what was it? Georgia played Samford last week.
Yeah, Samford.
And beat them like 33. You'd think Georgia would put 70 points on them. Kentucky plays Youngstown State, team they easily probably could have put a buttload of points, 31-0. So it's hard to judge because sometimes you come out against these teams, you play down to their level, and it's not the same as when you're SEC opponent against SEC opponent. I'm excited to see the Tennessee-Florida game this weekend. I think Kentucky's playing. I know Kentucky's playing Northern Illinois, which, I mean, they better show up for because Northern Illinois is a pretty decent football team.
They just lost to Vandy.
Yeah, they lost their quarterback though. I think they were up 28-14, and their quarterback goes out, and it changed the whole game. So, I mean, yeah, it may be a case of they go in. Never mind. I'm sorry. I read something and lost my train of thought. That happens sometimes. We're live. So what was we talking about?
We're talking about Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois. Okay. So, yeah, they lost their quarterback. So, that's you never want to see that happen. Somebody get hurt. But, it's – go ahead, Zach.
I don't think you need to be worried about Northern Illinois. They lost their quarterback. They still had to play against Vandy. And while Vandy's offense looks better than I think what I expected, Vandy's still bad.
Yeah, they're still bad. They're better than we thought, though.
Are they better than Mizzou?
I think everybody's better than Mizzou.
Missouri looks so bad.
They look so bad. But, I hate saying that because sure as the world, as soon as Kentucky plays Missouri, they're going to look like –
Is that a rivalry game for you all? Is that something
it
you
used
all?
to kind of be, but – and, like, South Carolina used to be, but we beat them 8 out of the last 9 seasons. So it's kind of lost its rivalry luster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it might be a case of maybe they consider us a rivalry, but at this point, I don't think it's considered much of a rivalry. Kentucky's biggest, to Kentucky fans and Kentucky in general, in football, their biggest rivalry is 1 Louisville, 2 is probably Tennessee. And I think 3 probably is Florida.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest rivalry games. And Georgia falls in there, but, I mean, we haven't beat Georgia. So, to us, it's a huge game, but I don't think you consider it a rivalry.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty one-sided,
yeah.
Right now. And there's not that history of these great battles. I mean, last time we beat Georgia was 2006. That's, 16 years ago.
I was in 8th grade.
I was working, and it was I remember that game. I actually went to a bar afterwards. What's this? I hope to. Oh, we got a dog fan in here. What?
Nothing.
Oh,
just reading that comment. Why do people want to crush my hopes and dreams like that?
I know, man. But I mean.
In all honesty, and I would never say this, I am saying it out loud right now, but I don't think I've ever said it to anybody else. If I wasn't a Vols fan, I think Georgia would be the way I go. Before they were good and stuff, I think Athens is beautiful.
Yeah.
I think Between the Hedges is beautiful. I love, and the Georgia logo is the same one that I had when we were in high school at Gibbs. I think if I wasn't a Vols fan, I would love Georgia. I've loved Georgia, sort of secretly forever.
Oh, so we're having an admission here. So yeah, I mean, Georgia's one of them teams. Like I've never I've never hated them.
No.
Now the fans lately, they bark at you if you wear any other team shirt.
They're having fun. They're winning.
It gets a little, and it's fine as long as you're winning. I think it's fine. But still, I definitely they're not a team that I hate.
Yeah.
When they won the championship, I rooted for them to win the championship last year over Bama, and which I mean, are you like this? We're SEC. We're both SEC teams. So when do you always root for the SEC team in a championship game if they make it?
It depends on. Are we talking like national championship?
Yeah, I'm talking like an SEC team makes a national championship game. Are you rooting for them, or is there a team that you absolutely would not root for in a national championship that's in the SEC?
There are teams that I will never root for regardless. There's a small list of those teams, but they're not even close to being in contention for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for the most part, I mean, your Alabamas, your Georgias, maybe not A&M just because I don't think Jimbo Fisher is everything that $90 million says he should be.
Yeah. I think people at Texas A&M are scratching their heads right now.
Well, they can continue to do that for the next 10 years because that's how long it's going to take for him to get fired.
For real.
So A&M's probably the line of where I start to say, yeah, I wouldn't cheer for them against too many people. Like Missouri, South Carolina, Vandy. I can't think of Mississippi State. I don't think I'd cheer for them over anybody either. But, yeah, your Alabamas, your Georgias, your Kentuckys.
So, what is up with this hype on Mississippi State? Okay, so let's talk about, odds of winning a national championship, right? So people usually put Mississippi State in a category above Kentucky, historically. Because they were ranked number 1 once. Mm-hmm. Historically, Mississippi State's the losingest team in the SEC.
Yeah.
They've lost more games than anyone else in the Southeastern Conference. Outside of the few Dan Mullen years they were good, Mississippi State's never been above average.
So I didn't know that was a stat, but I think that's because when I started to pay attention,
they had Dak Prescott and they got ranked number 1 once for a week.
Dan Mullen was there.
Yep.
And they were good.
They were a good program at that point, yeah. But they've made zero noise since.
Their hires have made more noise than anything. I'll say this though, they've got Will Rogers, who is an outstanding quarterback. He threw for whatever 400 yards in his last 2 games, each. I mean, he's a great quarterback, and part of that is the system. It's kind of like Hendon Hooker's numbers are always sort of elevated because we throw the ball quite a bit. We run the ball quite a bit, but a lot of his throws are, quick, deep pass, quick, deep pass.
But the system don't exist without a good quarterback.
No,
That's right. That's the thing.
You're right. You still have to be talented to get that. So there you get a lot of noise because Will Rogers puts up insane numbers.
Yeah.
But that's as far as that will go because you can't win. Offense will win you games, but defense will win you championships. And if you can't put both together on the field, you will not win the big games that you need to win to be relevant and to be good.
Yeah.
That's why Georgia and Alabama have won, those big games. They've both been national champions because they have both.
Yeah.
Tennessee has an offense right now. The defense has looked okay at times. I don't think that defense is good enough to win big games. Kentucky has a pretty phenomenal offense, I would say, and that defense against Florida that I saw was so good. It would not surprise me if Kentucky came in here and beat Tennessee because it looked that good. Explosive defense.
Their defense is see the thing with the offense is the explosive playmakers. We've never had this level of playmaker. I saw somebody comment that Kentucky will never be even close to a national championship. There was one time when I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what Mark Stoops has done in Kentucky, you can't argue. He's got Kentucky to levels I never thought Kentucky could get to. And who's to say he can't get to that next level?
Yeah.
He's recruiting well. They've proven they can develop players. That's their thing. So now they're recruiting unlike they've ever recruited before, and they're developing these players. We got a true freshman who has already caught more passes in his first 3 games than any true freshman has ever caught in their first season at Kentucky. and that's Dane Key.
Yeah.
He scored a touchdown in each game. All 3 games he scored a touchdown. This last one, I think he broke a freshman receiving record for a single game. And then if it weren't for him, we'd be talking about how good Berrien Brown is as a true freshman. He's already returned a 102-yard kick for a touchdown. He's catching multiple passes a game. So it's like the level of talent we have, and we got 2 of the fastest players in America. One is the fastest kid in America, and then the other is right behind him. So it's a level of talent I never expected Kentucky to have. Used to, like, let's go back to 2007. I know you probably don't remember a lot from that year, but that was when Kentucky had their first, like, taste of a successful season since I've been alive. Now, we had the Tim Couch year where we went to a bowl game, and then we had a couple good seasons after that. But, like, that was the first team that could compete with other teams. Like, they didn't get blown out by Florida. They didn't get blown out by Tennessee. They were competitive in every game they played, but they were still 7-5.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fluky because in order to go 7-5 that year, we had to beat LSU, which was the number 1 team in the nation, on our home field in 4 overtimes, which was a great moment, but you knew if you played that game 10 times, LSU's going to win at 9.
Yeah.
We just caught them on that one night and was able to get the win. But now, this is a team that you can line up against about anybody and know you have a shot.
Yeah.
Like, okay, outside of Georgia and Alabama, there's not anyone I could sit here and say, yeah, they're going to beat Kentucky. In the SEC. Tell me one team that you can say without a shadow of a doubt can beat Kentucky.
No, I agree, and I think that's a similar spot that Tennessee's in.
Exactly.
Because both teams can score points,
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen that both defenses can put up stops.
Yeah.
And if you can do both those things, you do have a shot in any game that you play. Now, are either of us saying, oh, Tennessee and Kentucky are both going to beat Alabama and Georgia this year? No, absolutely not. But when you have teams like that,
okay. I don't mean to interrupt you, but somebody just made a stupid comment. Said they haven't developed anyone who has gone to the NFL. So let's debunk that one real quick. I'm going to start with one of the best defensive ends in NFL, Josh Allen. Let's do current Kentucky players in the NFL. Let's look at this list. So you got Josh Allen, Quentin Bohannon, defensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. Where's more? Read more. Here we go. Bud Dupree, Lynn Bowden, T.J. Carter, Randall Cobb, Yusuf Corker, Jamin Davis, Bud Dupree. I already said that. Brandon Eccles, Mike Edwards, who returned a pick 6 to win the game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past weekend. Lonnie Johnson, Kelvin Joseph, Phil Hoskins, Darian Kennard, Marcon McCall, Quandre Mosley, Josh Pascal, Corey Peters, Wandale Robinson, Zadarius Smith, which is one of the best linebackers in the league right now, Benny Snell Jr., who is a running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Logan Stenberg, John Toth, Landon Young, and you know what? There's more.
People getting him fired up.
But I'm sorry. I don't mean to be an asshole, but you're just being a troll. You know what? Let's get rid of you. Go create another account and see me in about 5 minutes. Anyways, I'm sorry. If you're going to troll, at least don't sound like an idiot. No, I didn't have to Google. I could have named about 10 or 15 of them, but I just wanted to get a list because, it's a lot easier when I pull up a list and I can prove that I'm right and you're wrong. And, sometimes people are just...
I only know Bud Dupree because he plays for the Titans.
And he did play for the Steelers. Did he get traded?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, he got traded, and he was hurt. I think he was coming off maybe an ACL tear or something, but he's fully healthy this season. They're playing right now, I think. I've been trying to keep up with my fantasy football points.
So I played a few years ago. I haven't played in quite some time. But, yeah, next year we'll have to do a team. We'll have to do a fantasy thing.
Yeah, I'll make sure our friend Zach counts you in. He asked me.
I know very little about the NFL, but
dude, I'm telling you, I mean, so I'm a big Titans fan, so I that kind of helps me because I already know I'm picking Derrick Henry, and when Derrick Henry is healthy, he's fantastic.
Yeah,
and he only gets better as the game goes on. But as far as almost everything else, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you before the show, like I got rid of Tua Tagovailoa, and then the next week he puts up like 38 points for fantasy football, and now I'm like trying to get him back.
That's what would happen to me. It's like the one I cut's the one that's going to be like the MVP this year.
Dude, I'm so bad at this. Dad started a FanDuel account.
Yeah.
And he and I were looking over like some of the bets that you can place yesterday. And I was like, oh, look, you got to throw some money down on Jonathan Taylor, right? He's like the best running back in the NFL right now. And so part of the bet was like Colts cover the spread. I don't know all the terminology, but Colts win basically, and Jonathan Taylor puts up a lot of yards. He had like 13 rushing yards when I looked.
Oh, my God.
And they lost like 24-0.
That
and Dad
sucks.
was like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah, Moonman says that Henry would have been MVP last year if he hadn't got hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
He was having a big year. I remember that.
Dude, even after he got hurt, it was like 8 consecutive weeks. He was still the leading rusher. He hadn't touched a football. He's a freaking
insane.
tank, man.
He is. The Henry is. He's got to be the best running back in the league. Ain't he?
I mean, I want to say that, but can you continue to say that if he's hurt and he's not?
That's
producing?
true. He is. He does get a lot of.
This is week 2.
Go Cats, Jimmy.
This is week 2 for them. He still hasn't quite turned on the Jets. Now I've got the stream for the show on the phone right now, so I haven't looked to see what he's doing against the Bills. But he's got a pretty good record against the Bills. He could be tearing it up. Perhaps one of our producers will like give me a nod if he's doing well or not.
Yeah.
Later on, we'll see if they can be counted on for that.
So speaking of NFL,
Daniel.
how good are the Bills this year?
Scary good.
Yeah.
Scary
You
good.
think they're going to make it to a Super Bowl and lose like they historically do, or do you think they're going to actually win one this year?
I don't know. It's tough to say.
The other
I kinda
Josh
want
Allen.
them to. I kind of want them to make it all the way. I mean, because the Bills haven't been in there forever.
Is it 93 the last time?
Dude, I don't know. I was born in '93.
Well, see, you know the big run they had to where they went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost every one of them.
No, I don't know.
They did in the early 90s. I think it was like 91, 2, 3, and 4, 90, 91, 92, 93. The Bills went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost every one of them.
No, that's just bad.
I mean, God, you know how painful it is.
That's just bad.
I can't remember who I was on that team. I want to say Warren Sapp might have been on that team, but I could be completely wrong. I mean, somebody might be able to tell me. They had like an incredible defense. I remember that.
Yeah.
Their defense was like they had some big names and they were good. They just couldn't win that Super Bowl, man.
Yeah.
They just couldn't do it.
You know, as a Cubs fan, it just takes one, right?
That's right.
Just
it takes one.
Break the curse, Bills. Break the
Takes one.
curse.
You know, the Eagles finally won that Super Bowl a few years ago, 2017, I think.
Some people are saying they may go back to it this year.
Yeah, they might, man. I mean,
Jalen Hurts looks good with A.J. Brown out there.
best of luck to them. Like I guess if I was to say, like, when I was a kid, I loved the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah.
I was a big Reggie White fan.
Of
Brett Favre, of course. I thought he was just like that blue-collar, tough kind of quarterback.
Yeah.
I loved that 96 Super Bowl team when they beat the Patriots. But my dad's a Steelers fan.
Oh, figures.
So yeah, I mean, he is. He's always been a Steelers fan. Terry Bradshaw is his favorite player ever. And I just always kind of, gravitated as a Steelers fan in my adult years, not diehard, but
Are you blocking all the Missouri fans, John?
no, I'm not blocking all the Missouri fans.
Well,
so yeah, somebody's asking if you know that I'm being a baby and a jerk towards the fans in the chat.
I'm not.
I mean, I
reading
can't consider, not fans, but everyone in the chat. No, just one person that was a dumbass, and now you.
Moon Man, I'm with you. I prefer NCAA over the NFL too. But
I'm feeling salty.
when I was growing up, I just kind of followed Peyton Manning because he's, of course, Tennessee alumni, Tennessee legend. So I really liked the Colts, and it was easy to love the Colts because they were great, and I was little at the time. And then when he got traded to the Broncos, I was like, man, I just can't find myself cheering for the Broncos. I just don't care at all. But I still cheered him on, as he went to win the Super Bowl. And, of course, even when they got absolutely murdered in that one Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But a couple of years ago, somebody at work had some Titans tickets.
Megan.
Had some Titans tickets for sale.
Yeah.
And they offered them to me, and so I invited my dad to go to a Titans game. We'd never been to an NFL game before,
Yeah.
and we went, and man, I had a wonderful, wonderful time. Like if I'm sure a lot of you people, because I can see like a lot of cats. Maybe he's blocking all the Tennessee fans, so I don't have any support.
No, I'm literally they're not fans of anybody.
No,
they're just
I know.
dumbasses.
I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. But a lot of you who are Cats fans, you may have never been to Neyland Stadium before. But when you go, the experience is very much for the students and the players. And you can have a good time too, but it's very much focused towards the student athletes. Would you agree with that? You've been.
Yeah, and it is very much focused towards that. And I mean, it's an experience though, like. But to your point, yeah, it's not like a fan experience thing.
But when you go to an NFL game, it is all about the fan. At the Titans game, there's a gladiator who rides around on the back of like a side-by-side and throws free stuff to you. Like I have a towel that says Tighten Up on it, and they throw free programs at you. And it's just a lot of fun because it's made for the fans. It's built for the fans.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have to recruit anybody because you go into a draft and they pick who they want.
Yeah, and they everybody's paid. And, yeah.
So that whole experience is based upon you as the fan. And so I took Dad to that game. We weren't really Titans fans, but it was the closest one to us. Nashville being, about 3.5 hours away from us?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
it's a pretty decent drive.
I got off work at 7 a.m., drove over to Dad's house. I slept the whole way while he was driving. We show up to the Titans game. And I just fell in love with that whole atmosphere. I've been a Titans fan ever since. And Derrick Henry is very much my favorite NFL player right now. And I'm not even ashamed of the fact that he went to Alabama because he plays for Tennessee now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you, Moon Man. I very much enjoy NCAA over NFL. But it was really life-changing, I guess. Maybe that's an exaggeration probably, but eye-opening.
But it changes your mindset. Yeah, eye-opening.
Eye-opening to go to an NFL game over, an NCAA.
Well, Lucky the Donkey, what it is, some people, they just come in, like say mean stuff or trolly things, and, I go ahead and just, we block that. I feel free to... you're not going to get blocked from being an Auburn fan.
No, not at all.
And those deleted messages have nothing to do with sports whatsoever. It's just dumbasses being dumbasses.
Making fun of John's hair.
Well, I don't care.
Some of them might have been Missouri fans.
That stuff like that don't bother me.
No, I'm just joking.
I know I'm thin in the front. I mean, shoot, I own it. I'm fat and thin hair, so what? But this
Moon Man.
This show was just promoted on 5150 The Fan.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure. Is that a show?
Huh.
I mean, cool.
Producers, or somebody Google what 5150 is. Listen,
You're on it?
Peeps in the chat, I don't do any work when I'm here. I don't have any idea. John says, hey, show up at my house at this time, and we're going to talk football, and that's all I do. I don't set anything up. I'm the worst co-host on the whole planet.
No, here's the thing. Here's what people need to understand when it comes to this show. We are not professionals by any stretch of the imagination. We don't claim to be professionals.
I do, but it's totally a bold-faced lie.
We are literally just two dudes that love our teams, and I had this idea. It's an internet show from Denver. Well, that's cool. That's
Denver.
Yeah,
and I did just said I couldn't get behind Broncos.
So they gave us a shout out, and I'm getting there, Lucky. I mean, I'm thin. Well, I've been like this since you've known me for like 10 years. I haven't lost more hair, I don't think. If anything, I've got more hair than I used to.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea.
Yeah, I used to wear a hat all the time, so you wouldn't.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know to what. It's a bunch of stoners, so it's really funny, and the host is from Kentucky. That's cool.
I can get on board with that.
I can get on board with that. I mean, I don't know if they're making fun of us. And, listen, I don't mind being made fun of. I really don't. Like I said, when with the deleted comments, that's just people being mean. That's not even people poking fun. So,
yeah. And it's really like one person.
It's one person who
legitimately it's one person with 50 million different accounts that likes to come on here and just troll.
Yeah.
And that's like a fact. That's not.
Yeah, that's a fact, and it's like I'm the one living in their head, so I'm not that worried about it.
I don't know anything about it. Ain't got
It's
nothing to do
mildly
with it.
annoying, but like I live in their brain way more than they
I'm
live in
legit.
mine.
Like it's open here so that if anybody says, "Hey, Zach, what's the deal with this?" I can answer it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really reading too much because
Yeah.
I don't.
We just want it to be fun for people who are sports fans. That's it. That's what we want. We want sports fans in here, real sports fans.
And if we could quit our jobs doing it, that would be great.
I mean, you know, I already do the YouTube thing, so
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, I put that camera down for this one, so whatever. I'm just saying. But I have to listen to that. That's cool, Lucky. I appreciate you letting us know that.
About the chip helmet, dude. I want it full of chips. No joke. Why does that thing not have snacks in it?
So they like the chip helmet. So apparently they're watching because this is the first week this has actually been in frame, right?
Yeah,
Maybe it was there last week. So yeah, one of these days the plan is I'm just going to reach up here in the middle of a stream and just pull out a chip and start eating it.
Yeah, I think it should be full of snacks.
That's the plan. I mean, I shouldn't have told you that
You know
because
what?
it takes away the comedic.
I take it back. I'm not the worst co-host you are because that should be full of snacks.
It really should be full of snacks, and I am dropping the ball on it. So
I did find a Tennessee one the other day though. It was $60.
Oh, I would not pay that for it. I think I paid like $3 for this at a Goodwill.
Yeah, but can I really live with myself if I reach over and grab chips out of a Kentucky helmet?
Yeah, because if there was a Tennessee helmet here with chips in it, and I wanted a chip, I wouldn't let that stop me. I
may fight you over it.
What, Tennessee chip?
Yeah, don't you touch my Tennessee chips.
But if I share a Kentucky chip with you, listen to our producer back there kicking a trash can.
At least it said Kentucky on it.
Yeah, true. He keeps kicking it because it says Kentucky on it.
But yeah, that is cool that we were featured on a show with stoners. I don't have a problem with that. Do you think? Do you think?
Yeah,
That's what he said, producer Dan.
Yeah,
that's what he said. He said it's run by stoners.
He sits over and like he does a good job producing, but then sometimes he just drifts off playing on his phone or something, and then
he's watching other YouTube.
He's watching other YouTube channels.
He's like, the content on this show is terrible. I'm gonna go watch something and learn.
And he's over taking selfies while out.
He did.
I don't know what he's doing
stood
there.
up and took a selfie or something.
I don't know what he's doing.
We're on his Snapchat story. I'm sure.
Is
Snapchat still cool?
Dude, for him it is.
TikTok.
You know, he's got like a ton of girls that Snapchat him.
Does he?
Every day. All he ever does is Snapchat a bunch of women. I'm like, dude, you're a player, man. What the heck?
Hey, do it while you're young, man.
He says he's a pimp.
Live your dream. Live your dream.
You know what, Lucky? I agree with you. Missouri is trash this year. You know, here's the thing about Missouri. They come in when we kind of had a really down, when no one was really good in the East. You remember when Mark Richt left Georgia and all that, and Georgia was kind of going through a rebuilding
Their first
phase.
year in the SEC?
Yeah, Missouri came in their first 2 years. They went to the SEC championship, and we're like, yeah, we dominate the SEC. They kind of come in and caught us on an off time in the East. Tennessee was down because Kentucky had been down.
Josh Heupel was their OC?
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? I didn't realize that.
High-powered offense. Drew Lock looked insane.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't done anything in the NFL, but he looked just... I hated playing Missouri. You know, because, like, nothing's worse than getting bullied by the new kid in school. And we most certainly were. I'll never, I say I'll never forget, but I don't remember what the score was, but it was like that first year. I think I was young, probably 17. I think I was working at Bojangles at the time.
Yeah.
And I was watching the game while I was supposed to be sweeping the floor out there. And we were getting beat by like 40. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. You are getting trashed on by the new kid on the block. And it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, since
Pickett was their head coach Gary. Oh, I'm pulling this out of
Barry Odom.
No, that was after him. Is Gary Pickett or Pinkle or? Dude, I'm telling you,
I know who you're talking
Missouri's
about.
head coach. Then he left and went somewhere else, and then the guy you're talking about came in. Barry Odom came in. But the other guy led them to the 2 SEC championships, and I think he moved on I don't know. I ain't heard him since.
I don't know. There's always like some off the field drama with that school, though.
Yeah.
And so they can never really like keep their head on straight.
Lucky he is an Auburn fan. Auburn is a place where God walks on earth. Beautiful place and wonderful university. Auburn is beautiful. I've never been there, but from what I've seen, it looks beautiful.
I
I can attest myself.
I don't necessarily have a problem with Auburn. I'm a little jealous of Auburn at times because, like, sometimes, and I'm sorry, Lucky, but sometimes you all look like a dumpster fire. Like 1 week, like you'll look like a dumpster fire against a team like Syracuse, and then the next week you'll take Alabama into fourth overtime, and you'll look like the greatest team that ever walked the face of the earth, and it drives me insane. But I'm like a little jealous because we had all those years with no magic and a lot of hope, and then couldn't do anything with it.
Auburn is Alabama light. Like they're the Bud Light of Alabama. Is that what they're saying?
I think that's probably pretty generous, actually. 'Cause
Right now,
Auburn's
Auburn's
looking rough.
Auburn's looking rough this year. I mean, they're a program that always bounces back, though. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
I think it's easy to bounce back at Auburn. I just don't think Brian Harsin's the guy.
Yeah, I don't either. But
I think it's easy to sell the Auburn program to young recruits. You've got a lot of rich history there. I don't have a problem with Auburn at all. But I just think that you took a big swing on Brian Harsin because of what he did at Boise State, and he's not ready for that. And he doesn't seem to have the personality. Like SEC Media Days, he was calling people out like in the middle of his talk, and he's just not the guy. I think it was a mistake maybe to get rid of Gus Malzahn. What was he, 9-3 when they fired him?
I'm not 100% sure. I didn't really follow that a whole lot.
I think he was 9-3. I can't say that I understand firsthand like the frustration of being like right on the cusp of success every year, but just not being able to get over that because we've not been close in a long time.
Yeah.
But from a team that's like gone 4-8 a few times in the past 10 years,
it's feast or famine with Auburn.
It
like,
is.
They're either really good or really bad.
Yeah,
like
and sometimes that changes week to week.
Yeah.
Sometimes they look incredible, and then other times it's like, do you all even have enough players to put on the field?
It's crazy. I mean, and that's another one of those teams that like I don't hate.
Yeah.
I don't hate Auburn at all.
Yeah.
Like
I would cheer for Auburn over some teams.
I know 1 year when they had Cam Newton, they come to Lexington and Kentucky. I want to say we still had Rich Brooks. It might have been Joker's first year, but they had to kick a field goal to beat Kentucky. Like with the time running off to beat Kentucky, and Kentucky's down 18 at halftime.
Yeah.
Come back and almost won the game against at the time number 1 Auburn. Kentucky's had a history of playing number 1s well in Lexington, which makes me excited for Georgia coming to town this year.
Yeah.
Not only, here's the thing with Kentucky. Wide receivers improved. Will Levis has improved. Dude, his stats, he only had 3 incomplete passes the entire game, almost 400 yards passing. Now, 2 of them was interceptions. And it's not, his interceptions are not like ability, like skill set. It's mental.
So.
It's just him making a bad decision.
Yeah.
So the 2 times he's made bad decisions wound up being really bad. But the rest, he throws a beautiful ball. Alabama State has always been a good team too. Just fun to yell Roll Tide. So are you an Auburn or Alabama fan?
Maybe his phone corrected light to state.
I
I don't know. I can't speak for Lucky, but Alabama State. I don't know who Alabama State is.
Okay. All right. So
in any
I'm
case,
sure that'll get clarified.
I'm going to say I like Will Levis, but I think that's sort of his that's sort of the thorn in his side. Like he has all the ability in the world, but that like every now and then bad decision is the difference between him winning a game in incredible fashion and losing a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Those turnovers, that's what's going to get you.
That's and that's something he can fix as the season goes on. Like you can tell, like he's very self-aware. When he makes a mistake, he knows it, and you can tell he's working. So you hope by the time it gets to the Tennessee game, Ole Miss is
I don't
2 weeks.
hope.
I know you don't, but I do.
I don't.
And
hope.
every Kentucky fan hopes that he doesn't make those critical. The good thing is we have a defense good enough to bail us out. Now, against an offense like Tennessee, giving them short field is not a good idea.
Yeah.
You want to make Tennessee drive as far as they possibly can.
Yeah.
You want to make it as hard as possible on Hendon Hooker and that offense. Our secondary is amazing this year, so I'm excited to see how they match up with Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because I really think they're going to give you a lot of trouble. Last year, Tennessee burned Kentucky early in the game. I mean, it was bad. I thought it was gonna be a blowout, man.
Yeah, but you got to tip your hat to Mark Stoops, though. He basically comes in and says, I could play this game the way that I want to play football and the way I want this team to play football, but we're not going to win. And he opened up the playbook and played a style of football he wasn't ready to play.
And you got to give Liam
close.
Cohen for adapting with that too. I mean, of course, he's the OC for the LA Rams now.
Yeah.
And we got Rich, our new offensive coordinator, who come from the 49ers. I love his scheming. I think he's a better OC than Liam Cohen even. I really do. His scheming, the way he runs that offense, it's brilliant. It really is. And I don't think we've seen half the playbook yet.
Well, I hope we have, because I want us to win that game. And
I want Kentucky to come in. So what do you think? Should we go to the game? Should we go to
I want to go to the game, but here's what I'm going to say. So I was going to take my wife to the Akron game because this past weekend was my birthday.
Yep.
I turned 29, folks.
Happy
29.
birthday to Zach.
Thank you. I was going to take my wife to the Akron game because I thought, these games, like, nobody goes to them. The seats will be empty. Tickets will be cheap. And the tickets were cheap, like, the Monday before. But it was like $30-something a ticket. And I was like, okay, not a big deal, $60. But then by the time you pay service fees and tax, it was going to be over $100 to go see Akron. I was like, if I'm going to spend $100, and then not to mention the fact that my wife we'll want to go out and eat. We'll probably want to go get a few drinks. We're going to spend $300 on this night. If I want to spend $300, I've got better things I could spend it on.
Yeah.
So,
and honestly, like, here's my opinion. Watching college football games live, it's fun. But, like, I think, like you said, it's more like if you're a student.
Oh, yeah.
It's for you.
If you're a student, it's for you.
Honestly,
if you're young,
I think getting together with friends or going to Wild Wings or something like that, I think that's a much better time. And that might be what we do.
That's what we ended up doing. I love Wild Wings.
I think we need to get together, though, for the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
And watch it in some fashion. Either we go to Wild Wing Cafe and make a big deal. You bring your wife, I bring mine. And just have a good time, or
can the producers come?
Sure, why not? Well, I'll just make a shindig.
Are you all old enough to even get into Wild Wings by yourselves? Yeah. Thank you, Lucky, for the happy birthday. I appreciate it. And yeah, those service fees are stupid. And yeah, parking is insane. I've seen it up to like $40 to park. That's ridiculous. Let me just, because I read this comment from Moonman forever ago.
What do y'all get NFL game tickets? Or Super Bowl tickets? Those are real expensive.
I bet. I won't have to worry about that. The Titans are not going to Super Bowl.
How much were the Super Bowl tickets running last year?
I don't know.
A lot.
Let's see. Uga. I love Uga. I'm going to challenge you on him being the best, though, because I think everybody would recognize Smokey.
Yeah, well,
I think everybody would recognize Smokey.
Everybody recognizes Smokey, but Uga, man.
I agree. Everybody would recognize Uga, but I think those two are neck and neck.
Okay, so this is a good one. So who has the best live mascot? So let's. Okay, Daniel's got an opinion. So Daniel says Smokey.
I agree. I think Smokey's fantastic. He runs across the field. He howls at touchdowns. He's incredible. What are we on now? 10? Smokey 10? And they're retiring him after this year.
How long has he been in service?
I don't know. I couldn't answer that.
When in 2009, Lane Kiffin's year, I took a side job as security for the games.
Yeah.
And they played, I think it was Western Kentucky they were playing. And I was down on the field right where, where the Davy Crockett dude waving the flag and they got Smokey down there. I was right in that corner.
That's awesome.
It was an awesome spot to be.
I'm so jealous.
I was turning around watching the game. I mean, I'm not a Tennessee fan, but it's cool to stand on the field at Neyland Stadium during a game. That's an experience.
If you're colorblind, football's football.
And I appreciate football, and I appreciate the history and the tradition at Tennessee. I just don't like them. But this. Yes, I'm getting there.
Okay, that's kind of sweet. I mean, it's hard to beat a tiger, right?
It's hard, but then Auburn has the eagle, man, that flies across the stadium.
Man, they're
and
all
stuff.
good. They're all good. My
Um,
heart's with Smokey. You're not going to get me to change that.
I wouldn't
A lot of
expect
them
you
are
to.
cool. South Carolina, do they have a chicken?
I'm sure they do
Does
somewhere.
South Carolina have a chicken?
Ralphie the Buffalo.
Yeah,
What?
Colorado has a bison.
Oh. I was going to say,
Um,
that doesn't make sense. They're the Gamecocks. Why do they have a buffalo?
Well, then Oklahoma has the stagecoach, which this is the horses aren't their mascot, but the stagecoach that comes out.
yeah.
The horses and it does a big circle.
Does
that was
Texas have a bull?
yeah, they
Oh,
do. They
that's
have a
kinda
big
sick.
and it comes out on the field and like kneels down or
I was
whatever.
thinking that.
At least it does on NCAA football 13.
Russ was technically a Russian boar, but he's a Razorback. Razorbacks have a boar.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
That's
They're all
Arkansas.
cool.
Yeah,
They're all cool.
long as the only thing
Except for South Carolina.
I
If
would
they just
say-
march a chicken out there.
it'd make me like them better.
I think they do have a chicken, though.
Yeah,
See,
that's the
you all
Longhorn.
can't see Professor Daniel is Professor Daniel. Did I say that? Producer Daniel is showing us the Texas Longhorn. That's awesome. Hey, do me a favor and look up the South Carolina one because I'm pretty sure they changed his name. I think I saw something about a name change for their mascot.
God, isn't it annoying when you watch a football game and it's at their home stadium and that cock-a-doodle-doo the whole game? that
Yeah,
stupid rooster crow.
The General.
The General, that's its name.
So it's basically a low-budget insurance company.
General Chicken.
In honor of Revolutionary War
General
General
So's?
Thomas.
General So's chicken. That's some good stuff, man. Or we're getting past the phone with information. here.
Breaking news.
Dun, dun, dun,
They changed it from
dun.
the Fighting Gamecock to the General in honor of Revolutionary War General Thomas Sumter. Okay. Well, I mean, it's got history. I'm not throwing it. I'm not left-handed, and I'm not gonna risk that. But I'm not gonna diss on your history. We all know that historic statues and things have been a hot topic of late. I'm not gonna diss anybody's history for naming their chicken after a famous
War general.
Revolutionary War general.
Yeah.
So that's
mean,
that's cool. South
it's
Carolina
a
do your
thing.
thing.
Yeah. I just love how, don't you love how every year South Carolina's back like they ever were anywhere? Well, they did. They beat Alabama once when they had Spurrier.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, and they were good. I think they went to the SEC championship once. But like every year, they're like South Carolina's going to be the team to beat, and then they get their asses beat by everybody. Start the season off, and it's just when are they going to stop? When's the media going to stop loving South Carolina so much?
Listen, this is gonna sound hypocritical of me, but Tennessee kind of does the same thing.
Well, I wasn't going to go there.
Well, I'm
But
gonna
since
go
you
there.
said it.
Look, I'm a realistic Tennessee fan. I get my hopes up every year, and I've admitted several times on the show that I'm the first to drink orange Kool-Aid. No joke. Every Saturday, I do everything I can in orange. I wear orange. I eat orange glaze like cinnamon rolls. I drink orange juice. I have a whole box of orange creamsicle popsicles that I snack on throughout the day because in my superstitious head, the more orange I take in, the better our chances of winning. And it
Hey,
only has
man.
worked up to this point, like the past 2 seasons. I've been doing it forever, but it works right now because we're winning. But South Carolina's hype, a lot of, do they have talented players? Yes. They have what I'm going to call, I'm going to call him, we had Wish Ed. Spencer Rattler is Wish Levis.
Yeah, he is.
All the potential in the world.
Or
but-
producer. You just cause our producer to walk out the door
I
and
know.
quit.
He's okay, though. He loves us.
He's coming back.
He's
already.
coming back. All the potential in the world to be a great quarterback. Bad decisions cost them games.
Yeah.
And so while Spencer Rattler could be a fantastic quarterback, he is also a big part of why they're not having some of the success that they thought they were going to have coming into this season.
Yeah, we're on air. We're looking at you weird because you making those weird faces back
What did
there.
he do?
He's over going being weird.
He's so strange. Why did we hire him again? Oh, yeah, because Sean.
Yeah, because Sean's
Still
worse.
better than
Yeah,
Sean.
still better than Sean. No, I don't. I don't get the South Carolina hype. They do in Tennessee. You know what I'm tired of? This is what I'm tired of hearing as a Kentucky fan. You can't no longer look at Kentucky and say that they have a ceiling. Now, be real. You know how used to you could say, well, Kentucky can't be that good because they're Kentucky. I think that stigma's gone now. I think every time the media or other teams and other people have put like this cap, well, you're good, but this is it. This is as good as you're going to be. They have blown through that barrier.
Let me take off my orange shaded glasses for just a second.
All right.
And try it. I'm going to agree with part of that. Because the ceiling that I had on Kentucky before the past few years is gone. You've blown right through that ceiling.
I had a ceiling there too.
Yeah. But the ceiling for the rest of the SEC is now being set by Georgia and Alabama because they're on both sides of the table, right? They're East and West. So that ceiling is now being set by them because nobody is even remotely close. Like Arkansas is probably the closest.
Well, that's yet to be seen. I mean, they are good.
Arkansas is good, and they are building a solid program over there, and they've been doing it for a few years now.
We're going to find out this week.
Yeah,
how good they are.
We'll find out. But
I think they're a little overhyped this year. I'm just being real. They ain't played anybody. Who do they beat? They did beat somebody.
They beat South Carolina the other day.
Well,
I mean, but wins in the SEC or wins in the
wins
SEC?
You're right. And they were on the road, weren't they? Was it at South Carolina or was it at Arkansas?
I can't remember.
Either way, a win in SEC's, and if I'm thinking they were at South Carolina, and if that's the case, then that's even bigger because win on the road's hard.
It is anywhere.
No matter which team it is,
Anywhere
unless it's Vanderbilt.
Well,
because that might as well be a home game if you're playing at Vanderbilt. You're going to have more of your fans there than theirs, and that's the truth.
Typically,
we just have to have one smart school in the SEC.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, our ceiling is kind of set by Georgia and Alabama at this point. Arkansas is close. I feel that. I feel Arkansas is. I think Arkansas is right there with Tennessee, Kentucky, and so Florida's like kind of in between that tier and the tier below because they're sort of struggling right now.
They're kind of rebuilding. You have to throw this as a rebuild year for Billy Napier.
They're just sort of strange right now. Like they come out and they beat probably an overrated Utah team.
Yeah, I think that just shows how much better the SEC is than the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean everybody's.
Look what Georgia did to Oregon.
Yeah. So I was curious.
You're not on my level.
I was curious what Utah thought they were going to do against Florida. So before the Pitt game, I was listening to the Locked On Utah Utes, and they thought they were going to beat Florida by like 2 touchdowns. Like they didn't think Florida stood a chance.
Yeah.
Not in this universe or the next. And they were singing a much different tune on the episode that came out after the loss.
Oh, I'm sure.
So Utah's one of those teams that like gets a lot of love because they have like an older team. Like those teams that they just have a bunch of seniors.
Yeah.
And even if they didn't do anything last year, they just like they end up ranked for some weird reason because they have all older guys. Like BYU is kind of like that sometimes.
Yeah, they're always ranked. Like,
Yeah.
It seems like they're always ranked, and I guess it's just they retain players well.
Well, all their players are like my age.
Yeah.
So, obviously older players are better, right? No, wrong. That was satire. That was sarcasm.
Yeah.
But there are teams like that that get ranked for sort of no reason except for like, oh, they've got 50% seniors right now. And a lot of them are 5th and 6th year and 7th year because of the COVID and red shirt and everything else. And so Utah was probably overranked.
Yep.
Overrated. I think they were 7 at the time. Florida comes in and plays the game of their life. Anthony Richardson looks like he's going to be Bryce Young by the end of the year or the next Tim Tebow. And then they come to play Kentucky and you're putting pressure on him. But you're also making him stay in the pocket, and he does not seem to like to stay in the pocket. They want him to run the ball, and he could not. He had nowhere to go.
And nobody was open, and he had nowhere to go. And it says a lot for Kentucky's defense, which I knew we were going to have a decent defense this year, but our defensive line was a big question mark.
Yeah.
Well, that's been answered.
Yeah, I think
they're
so.
pretty darn good.
They look great.
Secondary's phenomenal. Now, secondary was probably the biggest question mark, and the improvement of Carrington Valentine. And if you didn't watch that game, he has an interception against Youngstown. and it's amazing what he did with that interception. And there was a pass he broke up that, I mean, it was a catch, but he got his hand in there and ripped that ball loose. Like, he's playing like a Sunday cornerback. And, you know, a lot of Kentucky fans gave him hell over the last couple of years because he would get burned. He's the reason Tennessee was up 21 to whatever on Kentucky, because he kept getting smoked in his position.
Yeah.
Just not putting himself in the right place. He has all the ability in the world.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't mentally there. And this year he seems to put it together. But yeah, that. Oh, what the hell happened to my voice?
I don't know.
Oh man, that was weird. Whew.
Was that Krusty the Clown?
But anyways, back to what you said
on YouTube.
What you said about the Florida game is, yeah, they were comparing him to Cam Newton, which, I mean, I wish they would quit doing this to these young players, because I get it. You got to have, these media people have to have something to talk about, and they got to do the comparisons. But, like, you know how much pressure they put on him? Being like, he's like a Cam Newton. He's like, you know, who else they compare him to? Anyways, that's
Probably Tebow. I mean,
Probably
wears
Tebow.
15, plays
And-
at Florida. Tebow loved him. Tebow put him at like number 2 in the SEC when he did his quarterback rankings, and we hadn't even really seen, like, I don't know that I'd ever watched him play a game before this season. I honestly,
Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, Anthony
He
Richardson.
didn't really
I
play
can't
last
think
year.
of a game that I watched him play.
He see, Emory Jones was their starter last year.
Yeah.
And, like, he had a game, he started one game and he looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
And everybody's excited about him, but I think that Kentucky game showed that, like, he's not ready. He's got all the athletic ability.
Yeah.
He's got a cannon. I mean, he's going to be a great
he
player.
throws at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, he's straight. Like that interception by Jordan Wright against
That was an
Kentucky. Like,
impressive, man.
he threw that ball so hard, and for Jordan Wright to be able to take that in and intercept
That was a
it,
man play right there.
I can't believe. I mean, that was some luck.
Yeah.
like all the skill in the world probably wouldn't have gotten an interception there. It took a little luck to be able to haul that in.
Yeah, when you see it, like, he doesn't just grab it. Like
Right,
you throw
it
something.
hits
He
him.
he hits it a little bit and then grabs it.
He just was throwing his hand up there to see if he could get a piece of it,
Yeah.
and he got every inch of that football.
I think it was going so fast that, like, all he could do is kind of stop its momentum, which I guess it being thrown faster, if you really look at it in slow motion, now that I'm thinking about it, that might have been what caused him to be able to intercept that, is because it was thrown with such velocity. When he puts his hand up, it just kind of stifles the ball in there, and he kind of tips it a little and grabs it. But I mean, I'm not a physics expert, so I don't really know. I'm just talking out my ass. But
it was great. I like offense because it's explosive. Kentucky's defense that night was explosive, and I enjoyed watching it.
yeah, it's something fun to watch. Lucky says, love Tim Tebow. Tebow's a class act. I don't think he was given a fair chance in the league. Also says Billy Napier. Moonman says Billy Napier. People love him. Like, here's where he's going to be successful. He has a close relationship with a lot of high school level people, especially in the state of Florida and Georgia.
Yeah, his brother's like a coach at a powerhouse
Yeah.
program in Georgia, I think they were saying.
And, like, it's just he's looked up to and revered. So, like, I think he's going to recruit very well at Florida. I mean, he's already got, like, all this respect from all these high schools, and we'll see. But
Also, so some thoughts I had, because I hadn't really watched Florida play until they played you all. Watching him on the sidelines, he's very cool. He's very calm. I didn't see him throw a clipboard or yell at anybody. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you need to be nice to those kids. They're just kids. Be good to them. Don't yell at them. I played football, and some of my coaches were drill sergeants, and that's part of it. And you've got to be able to take that. Is it fun to play for a player's coach? Yes. I was a player's coach when I coached baseball. Players loved me. They didn't like the head coach very much because he yelled at them and made them do things. So I thought it was cool, though, to see the way that he talked to Anthony Richardson when Richardson was really just blowing it up. Just a lot of smack him on the rear, tell him it's all right, we'll get through it. Hey, learn from this. I kind of like that, and that hurts my soul to admit that I like something that Florida's doing. But it sort of made me think for a second, like Billy Napier may be their answer. Like we'll still have to wait and see because
Yeah.
that's happened so many times, especially to us. But I like the way he approaches his players, and I like the way he handles his business.
Mm-hmm.
And I may have to stand here right now and say I could have been wrong about Florida when we did episode 1. I thought they were going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah, because it was a lot of the rumors. Rumors are rumors. A lot of people, you hear these things, and I listen to a lot of Kentucky sports talk. I'm sure
Yeah,
you listen to a lot of.
all
I'm sure
Tennessee
you listen
here.
to Eric Ainge all the time.
I do.
And you're going to get a distorted version of anything.
Yeah.
From a one-sided
Yeah.
show, and that's just the way it is.
All of our news comes on with orange shades.
and mine comes with blue. So I get it. But, I thought the same thing. Like, I thought people weren't about him, but apparently the players love him.
Yeah.
And his recruiting's going well. So, so this is a nice comment. Lucky, which welcome to the show, by the way, Lucky. We're glad you're here. Says, so I really like the show. You guys just saying it's really nice to see two hosts that are legitimate fans who can equally take criticism for their teams. It's a nice change of pace instead of yelling.
There will be yelling.
I'm sure there's going to be moments when I get upset or you get upset and we're venting. Something's not going to go right this year or whatever. But no, we're pretty chill. I mean, we get it. It's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. But we love our teams. And that's one thing. That's why I asked Zach to be my co-host on this show, is because
He doesn't have any friends.
anyways, I was about to be nice. Now you're going to make me be mean.
He
No.
called us out for being too nice. No, he didn't call us out. He didn't call us out.
He didn't call us out. He said it was refreshing.
It is refreshing.
To have people who can take criticism. Now, you made me lose. Oh, anyways, because I knew his passion for Tennessee equals my passion for Kentucky. So I thought it would be, for one, decent content, because we both know our teams pretty well. I think we bring a lot to the table. And then one of the biggest things is my wife doesn't like sports. I have no one to talk football with,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this gives me a great outlet to talk
Oh,
all
yeah.
the sports I freaking want, because I like to talk a lot.
Well, here's the thing. What you don't know is that she's paying me to do this show so that you'll stop talking to her about sports.
And that's fine. She's making things work. And that's what you call a good relationship, whenever both people are working at, she knows I love sports and I ain't going to stop talking
Yeah.
about it. So
Listen, I don't know if my wife's watching. She probably is. She told me she would, but she asked me one time, she said, "Why do they kick the ball on 4th down? That's like giving up." Referring to a punt. So, your wife doesn't like sports, but she probably doesn't make you explain everything.
no, she just doesn't care. Like, see, now take it. That's a good thing, though. At least she's putting effort into
Oh, yeah. No, I like to listen. I've been with my wife since I was 15 years old. I have earned every right to pick on that girl as much as I want, and she does the same thing to me.
Yep.
That's how I diffuse stressful situations. We had to have a meeting with our son's daycare
Oh,
not
boy.
long ago, and all I did was just hurl jokes at my wife's expense because I know she can take it. Like, we have that kind of relationship where we can give each other a hard time and it's okay. And it made light of what was a potentially disastrous situation. We thought, like, our kid could get kicked out of daycare for being a brat.
Oh,
But,
not your kid.
oh, yeah, my kid. More hers, but yes, mine.
Sure.
I was an angel. That's
yeah.
Mom. Mom, get on here and tell John. But no, I give my wife a hard time, and I'm sure I'll take a little heat, for giving her a hard time. But she knows, like, that's how we are. That's how our relationship is. I give her the hardest time of anybody ever. But yeah, I have to explain a lot of football things that I just never thought I'd have to explain. She's got a point, though. Like, it is giving up, I suppose.
But it's called strategy.
It is called strategy. You're flipping the
Strategy.
field, dear.
So, Heather, one year she got into basketball.
Uh-huh.
And It was when Calipari came his first year at Kentucky. He brought in DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, Patrick Patterson was there. It was that team that should have never lost a damn game. But they were fun. It was a fun team to watch. They had a lot of personality. You had Boogie, DeMarcus Cousins, who did the famous. You ever hear about that? They was going to Mississippi State to play them.
Okay.
Somehow his cell phone number got leaked to some of the Mississippi State fans. So his phone was getting blown up, and he was getting all these text messages, all this hate from Mississippi State. It was their student body, So there's one play he goes in, does this big dunk, and turns around, looks at the crowd, and goes, "Call me," like that. So it's like a legendary moment, because that's the kind of person he was. He didn't care. But that team was so fun to watch, and she got into it. She really got into basketball because basketball is fast paced. Football it's a strategy game, which if you've played it, you can appreciate it. But you don't have to play it to appreciate it. But you got to enjoy the strategy of it. And the mindset. Basketball's back and forth, alley oop dunk. It's more exciting to watch.
It's one moment to the next.
Yeah.
Where football is very much like planning a few steps ahead.
Yeah.
Setting yourself up for 3 moves in the future, what you're going to do the next series. It is. It's tough to follow if you don't understand.
And for someone who's a non-sports fan, I think their best bet at like enjoying a sporting event would be basketball.
I agree.
Because of the pace. Or go to a live hockey. I always tell somebody, if you've never been to a live hockey game, I could care less about hockey.
Yeah.
But I went and watched the Ice Bears play once, years ago, and it was one of the best times I ever had in my life.
I've never been. I've heard it's amazing.
I've never watched a game since. I won't watch one on TV. I just don't understand it. But watching it live is just something. Again, it's a fan experience.
Yeah.
And it was a guaranteed fight night. Is what they called it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they can guarantee a fight, but they guaranteed it.
I
And
think
boy,
that's
there was
what-
some fights broke out,
I think
man.
that's what they're famous for. Like they're a good hockey team, but I think that they like to fight.
They love to fight, and like to have a guaranteed fight night. It blows my mind. But no, I think basketball is I love it. Of course, being a Kentucky fan, it used to be a basketball school. Did you know that?
I'm sorry, what?
Kentucky used to be a basketball school.
I never thought.
You never thought that, did you? Would you?
Daniel said still is.
Still is, Daniel. Yeah. Well, at least they have something.
Hey, Google that. Is Kentucky a basketball school? I'm just curious what the internet thinks.
See, Tennessee fans, you don't have any right to talk shit about basketball. You got a good basketball team, and you beat
Now.
Kentucky. You still never been past the Elite Eight.
No. Look,
You won your first SEC tournament title last year ever.
Hey, look, I'm not giving any shade. It's only funny because nobody else believes that Kentucky's a basketball school.
I mean, it's complicated.
Let's see what Yield Internet has to say.
Oh, I want to read it too. Go ahead and read
It's
it.
just what Coach Cal said.
Oh, so did you see what Cal said recently? This was funny. So he was doing a thing with Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne's Louisville's head coach now, and they were doing like this event, and they were on stage together, sitting in chairs. Excuse me, doing kind of a Q&A.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Kenny Payne's Louisville's coach, so he makes the comment, "We're a basketball state."
Ooh.
Well, Calipari goes, "Easy now." He goes, "What did he say?" He goes, "I caught a lot of hell for that," or something like that. But he said it in a way that was like, "Oh, okay." He was very joking about it. See, I'm butchering it right now, but if you watch it, it made everybody go, "Oh, okay, things are good now." Which he did make a tweet about Kentucky winning against Florida and stuff.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
he didn't write that.
No, well, he did.
No,
he writes, dude. If you watch his Twitter, he writes his own Twitter stuff.
Barnhart.
Oh, well, it's probably
Barnhart said, "Hey, this is what you're gonna say."
Honestly, if Cal wanted to make things better when Kentucky beat Florida, he should have just tweeted 2 words: football school. If Cal would have tweeted that would have made everyone to forgive him, and then everybody would have moved on.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of moved on now. Like in the Kentucky realm, the fans and the coaches, everybody's moved on. Stoops has moved on. Like Stoops has got more important things to do right now than worry about Cal.
Yeah, I mean, well, right now Stoops is in. He's basically in rush hour.
Yeah, it's
Like,
mid-season. It's
yeah,
season
I mean-
started. He can't worry about anything else.
Here's the thing. I don't believe in the what am I trying to say? Brain fart. See?
Stoops will never forget that.
No.
That's the thing.
I don't think that Coach Cal is genuine in his apology. And here's why. When was the last time you turned on a Kentucky sporting event? And I honestly don't know, because I don't watch Kentucky sports unless I know that I'm going to get text messages from you, which I do all the time. When was the last time you turned on a Kentucky football game, or maybe you flipping through the channels and you see Kentucky softball is on or something, and boom, there's a shot of Coach Cal in the stands wearing a Kentucky shirt, chilling out with maybe some other coaches or some staff members, or maybe even the student section. Have you ever seen that?
I only seen Cal. Now, when I used to have season tickets, him and the players would come to the football games.
Okay.
And they would come out of the tunnel and kind of stand in the end zone for a little bit and watch the game like that.
Okay.
They wouldn't be in the crowd, but that was back then.
Yeah.
I don't know about now. But they would be there, and like, I know some, usually when they would walk out, the crowd would be like, and they kind of wave a little bit.
Basketball school.
Yeah. I mean, this is back in 2012 when Kentucky was 2-10.
Yeah.
It was a different ball game.
Yeah.
No pun intended back then. But yeah, basketball school, football school. I think they're getting a balance here. Florida was a both. Remember? They won national championship in football and basketball in the same year.
Yeah, Florida's kind of an everything because it's.
So why can't Kentucky be everything?
I'm not saying they can't.
So I think right now Kentucky.
Coach Cal's saying they can't.
Well, Coach Cal can. No, I don't care. Coach Cal.
You heard it here first, folks. Kentucky fans are over Coach Cal.
I think a lot of them are.
I think a lot of them are.
'Cause
Based on what we saw, the reaction was.
People are tired of the same speech every year. Quit saying we're the gold standard when you lose to St. Peter's in the first round of the tournament. You can't. Historically, yes, Kentucky's the gold standard. Recent years, pop down a little bit.
Yeah.
Get us back to the Final Four, win another national title, then you can start talking.
From the outside looking in, Coach Cal doesn't support any other program for the school. He just doesn't. He's the man, right? He wins all the time, and when you think about Kentucky, you think about Coach Cal, you think about basketball, and that's just kind of where he's at. If you were to come to a Tennessee basketball game, you know who you'd see in the stands? You'd see softball coaches. You'd see baseball coaches. You'd see football coaches. You'd see track coaches. Like Tennessee sports in general, the whole staff all across all the programs, they all support each other. And Pat Summitt started all that. She recruited the other coaches to come show your face at these basketball games, because all that does is, while your basketball team is maybe beating somebody they shouldn't be beating, they're seeing you on the screen too, cheering for your team, and that makes recruits. Hey, look at that! That's Coach Heupel. Man, maybe I do want to go and watch a basketball game with Coach Heupel. Maybe I do want to go to Tennessee, but Coach Cal doesn't seem to do that, because he's just like, well, I'm the best. I'll show up for my own games, and that'll be about it.
That's kind of, I think that's the way he feels, is like, I'm the attraction.
Yeah,
that's what he feels like. Now, I will say this: to be the coach at Kentucky, you kind of have to be a self-centered person, because I just think it's part of the game that they want a showman. Rick Pitino, he was a showman. He was a salesman. He was classy. He run his mouth all the time. He talked a lot of trash. Like, it's just that I think in order to be a coach there, they want you to be like that voice and have that kind of cocky attitude. But you better win.
Yeah, but that has to phase out at some point due to things like social media.
Social media has changed a lot.
It changes.
Way things are.
It changes everything, because now, just like Coach Cal, he goes and he has an interview from the Bahamas and says Kentucky's a basketball school. Well, now he looks like a jerk.
You know what? This is over.
And what happens on social media?
He
gets blown up. People are calling him out over all the things that he's done, all the shortcomings of late. You can't act like that against your own squad because of social media, because everything that you say is out there for the world to see instantly. There's no time to edit it. There's no time to say, oh, gosh, I didn't mean it like that. You have to say it right then and there, but he doesn't think like that.
The thing is that interview could have been. It was it wasn't live. It was a edited interview. He wanted the way that works is they sit down, they do the interview, and this is Kentucky press. This isn't like Louisville people, because Louisville people put everything in there. These are people he can look at and go, take that out. Take that part where I said basketball school out of this. It don't need to be in there. He had that opportunity to do that. And from one of them's own mouth, the reporters was like, I even asked him, are you sure you want me to put this in there? He goes, yes, put it all in there. Because he's mad because he wants a new practice facility. Now, this practice facility is only 12 years old, okay?
But the roof leaks, John.
Well, there's one video of
the roof leaks.
Roofs leak. That roofs do that.
If your roof leaks, are we tearing down your house and building a new one?
No, we're going to fix
for
it.
$50 million.
Yeah, we're going to fix it and maybe renovate it a little bit with some of the insurance money. That's what you do. And they just renovated it not long ago, okay? But he wants a new facility. He wants to be the best one in the country. And, they're saying that it's not the nicest practice facility. It's pretty darn nice. And obviously they have the best recruiting class in the country this coming year. It's not hindering recruiting. Like they might have the best class they've ever had. And that's hard to say because it's Kentucky basketball. But this in 2023 might just be the best class they've ever seen. And that's insane to think that somewhere like Kentucky is going to have that good of a recruiting class. So it's like, just pipe down a little bit. You'll get it when you. Right now, they're trying to build stadiums for some of the secondary teams. They're trying to put air conditioning in Memorial Coliseum. Memorial, because that's where the volleyball and the women's basketball plays. They don't have AC in it. So they're trying to put the money into that to give AC to them. Speaking of volleyball, they're defending national champions at Kentucky. And them in Louisville played last week, and they put it on ESPN primetime, and they had is the biggest feud volleyball game ever. So that was a big moment for the sport of volleyball. All the teams in the nation were like, you all have to put on for this. So they sold out the arena. It was just a wild event, and people went crazy over it. So, but anyways, yeah. I think the fans spoke and showed where, they put their support. And I think that's good for Stoops. Ultimately, I think this has helped the football program because it more people have talked about Kentucky football this year than they ever have. Kentucky football has been a hot topic all year.
Yeah. Y'all are number 8 in the nation right now?
Number 8. And then what happens when Kentucky finally gets on TV? They kick Florida's ass. So all these people looking at Kentucky is going, well, shoot, I can go there and be the next Dane Key, Barry and Brown. I can be the next Will Levis. So they see opportunity now. Not just going somewhere that's not a good team and maybe you can help build. No, this is an established team. Now the 5 stars are starting to come. We've been recruiting 4-star athletes a lot and the occasional 5. Now you're starting to get all these 5-star athletes are putting Kentucky on their list. And that's something that's never happened before. So I think ultimately, as the attention turned towards, it was a negative situation at first, then everybody turned and looked at Kentucky, and the first thing they did is go to Gainesville and kick Florida's ass. I don't think you could have scripted it to be any better for the football program.
Yeah.
Personally. And then they saw the fans' reaction.
Yeah,
they saw a coach
players.
that had his players back.
Yeah.
They saw players that had their coaches back.
They had students that had the programs back.
Yes. So they see all this. And I think ultimately it's helped the football program.
I agree.
Basketball program, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's Kentucky basketball. They're going to be fine. But they need to shut the hell up.
They do.
And just play basketball.
I think that was,
I hope they win national. I hope all sports do well.
I think that was kind of my big problem with it, though, is you're all wearing blue.
Mm-hmm.
Why is...
I think that's what made everybody mad. It's like, Cal, of course we love you. We know you're historic. It's great, whatever. Why did you have to say that?
Yeah.
That's your own team. Why did you have to say something like that?
Yeah.
And I think it just didn't set well, and it never will. Hopefully as time goes, people forget about it. Maybe Stoops and Cal don't have a great relationship. Who cares? If they're winning,
I just hope you don't end up losing Stoops over it.
I don't think so. I really don't. Over that, I don't think we will.
He's not going to Nebraska, folks.
No,
Stop asking.
He already shot that down.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I have a fear. I thought about this today. I'm worried that Alex Golish from Tennessee, our offensive coordinator and O-line coach, goes to Nebraska. And that's not a rumor. I'm not hearing anything about it. I just know that they have done a lot of talking since he got here and said that guy's going to be a head coach someday. And Nebraska's a historic program.
Yep.
He's an offensive mind. He could go. And they could want him. And I wouldn't blame them for wanting him. I'm nervous about it. But the other side of me says, no, that's Gus Malzahn all over it. He's going to want to get out of Central Florida soon.
God, though, I mean, it's so hard. Like, where are you going to get players at? No one wants to play at Nebraska.
It's just kind of like Tennessee, though.
Like, you don't. The thing is, though, Tennessee, you have in-state players you can build from.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just mean, like, when Nebraska is a hard.
It has the history, yes.
It's got history. It's hard to say, oh, I want to go coach at Nebraska because of all the negativity surrounding the program right now, right?
Yeah.
So when I say it, that's how Tennessee is too. Like, it's because prior to Josh Heupel, you had the Jeremy Pruitt era. Even the Jeremy Pruitt coaching search, like, that was a fiasco. We couldn't get anybody to take that job. Mike Gundy came here just to leverage for a raise to go back to Oklahoma State, like he's done to us 3 times before or something like that. Like, it's going to be hard for them to find a coach, and I feel like you're going to have to find someone who's hungry to make a comeback if you're going to find somebody.
Yeah.
It's either going to have to be hungry for a comeback, I don't think they'll get Urban Meyer. I think he ought to just say, no, I'm done. I'm going to stick to hosting a sports show or something. But Gus Malzahn comes to mind because he's at Central Florida. It wouldn't surprise me if he wants to make a comeback in Nebraska. If you can rebuild Nebraska, they'll pay you whatever you want.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I'm a little nervous that they come for Alex Golish. And if he took that job to be his first head coaching job, I think it'd be a mistake. But I wouldn't blame him for shooting his shot, right?
I mean, dude, think about it. If me and you somehow was an assistant at a college and Nebraska offered us head coach, I don't think you could turn it down.
No, I don't think so.
Like, to be the head coach at Nebraska, I mean, I know they've been a dumpster fire ever since they joined the Big Ten.
The only way I turn it down is if I'm at my dream school. If I'm an assistant coach at Tennessee, you can forget it.
Yeah.
Block my number. Please do not contact me again. But if I'm a assistant coach at Syracuse or Florida A&M or something like that, and Nebraska calls and says, hey, look, we think you're up and coming. We'd like to offer you the job. Yeah, I'm going because that you take your shot. And if it fails, look at Scott Frost. He gets a $15 million buyout. He's sitting in the Bahamas right now going on about somebody's basketball school too.
Something's up with that.
They're asking if there's any way, like social media, that they can follow.
Just here, like, I have a Twitter account, but I'm not active on it. None of us really do social media.
No. It's liberating.
We'll talk about it later. But I think just when the community tab's available for us, that's where we'll do most of our media sharing area stuff. So, and don't worry about it, Lucky. It's an easy thing. There's nothing that says my name on here, so you wouldn't have known that anyway. So don't worry. It's no disrespect. I don't take it that way at all.
People only know that if they come from your other channel or they know you.
So Exploration Unknown, he's asking about the Exploration Unknown. It's a YouTube channel. That's how I got on YouTube originally. I've been doing it for 6.5 years. It's got a little following. I've been kind of slow at it the last couple of years.
That's where all the spooky stuff follows him home and haunts all of our equipment and makes stuff not work when we get here.
I do a lot of spooky stuff.
Where's the shrunken head?
That's okay. First of all, don't throw that. I thought you were going to toss it. I was
this
like,
is the kind of stuff that John decorates the studio with that you all can't see.
So who knows what that is, first of all?
I don't know why I looked up like they were going to. We
No,
talked
the-
about this before, though, didn't we? Like on
Yes, it's from a movie. It's a trivia. First person to comment
Border
that
Rivals trivia.
what this is from. What movie is this from? Because here's the story behind this. The man who done the special effects on that movie and created these gave me this. This was one of his prototypes that he carved out of clay for the movie. So I treasure this thing. The man who created this character gave me this personally. Because I told him when I met him, we were hanging out at his studio, and I told him, I was like, that character scared the hell out of me as a kid. I had nightmares about this little guy. So,
And now we keep it in his house.
and I won't. This is a prized possession of mine. He can live here.
Yeah, he does exploration of like haunted places. I'm gonna give you a little shout out here, John.
And-
Halloween is here.
And well, I got some big stuff cooking
Yeah.
up for Halloween. Yes, I do.
I when I'm sitting at home, if I'm by myself or something, maybe like cleaning or working on a project or something, I play a little exploration unknown in the background
Aw.
and listen to some of your haunted stuff as we get to what is my favorite holiday, Halloween.
Well, I got some good stuff.
He's been trying to get me to go for years, but I told him if he doesn't want to carry me out like Scooby and Shaggy, I'm not going.
I've never been to a haunted house.
We'll have to change that.
Daniel, are you like 7?
I always want to go. Never had time.
Yeah, he sure acts like 7.
Field trip. Field trip.
We should do a crossover episode. Border Rivals goes paranormal.
Are there any paranormal football stadiums?
Tennessee. Don't
Okay.
you know the story? See, Daniel doesn't believe me, and you probably know this. They have classes in the stadium. They have classrooms in Neyland Stadium.
I didn't know that.
Puppet Master.
Yes,
Oh,
Puppet
there you go.
Master is the movie. There's some people that come close. They were like Drillhead and stuff. So at the University of Tennessee, in the stadium, is some classrooms, and there's actually like bodies in those rooms. I don't know what kind of class that is, but there is. They have like human cadavers inside of Neyland Stadium.
Okay, didn't know that.
That's that, and somebody we'll have to research that. I don't know the exact details, but I know it. Okay, so you know how you can see the old stadium underneath all the scaffolding when you're there,
Yeah.
like the old brick and
Yeah.
the arch windows and stuff. Like Daniel didn't realize that that's the original stadium. It's still underneath all of it.
Even those like lower concession stands are still like kind of
The old, like from the 20s or 30s when they built
something.
that.
It makes me feel like we're watching like an old English werewolf movie or something. It's like stinky down there too, like kind of musky,
Yeah.
mildewy.
Mm-hmm.
There's an abandoned football stadium
In-
in downtown Atlanta. Used to belong to a college that is now defunct.
So there's
That's
a
it.
football field in Knoxville at the old Knoxville College. It's abandoned. The scoreboard's all that's left. The stadium's gone.
Oh.
But the scoreboard, it's old and cool looking. It's for the Knoxville College.
Your Knoxville College video is my favorite because like the way that the classrooms look,
I know, ain't it so cool?
it's like a natural disaster happened and
It
just
is.
chaos erupted. If you haven't watched that one, go watch it because I think it's interesting because like I live here, but
yeah.
the way that the classrooms still have like papers and books on the grounds and like
There might
what
be
are they called
bodies in Notre Dame.
beakers, like the little glass
Yeah.
bottles for like science class, just everywhere, broken glass everywhere. It looks like something happened and everyone just got out.
Yeah, like
That's what it looks
It
like.
does, and it's surreal being there because it's kind of scary. You know, I mean, you don't know what's around each corner. There's a lot of violence that's went on there since it's been abandoned. You know,
It's not in a good part of town, is it?
it's not. I wouldn't say it's the
remember seeing
worst
the
part.
sign, but isn't it like close to Mechanicsville?
It's over in that area. It's off Western Avenue.
Yeah, it's not,
I
parts
wouldn't
of that
say
area
it's
are
like the
kinda
worst
rough.
area in Knoxville, but it
No.
can be rough.
Yeah, it's kind of rough over there sometimes.
Because the problem was there's a lot of vagrants and they're vandalizing
Mhm.
and doing drugs and stuff. But yeah. So yeah, Neyland Stadium has bodies, and somebody's saying Notre Dame does too. But anyways, guys, I think it's about a night. I've enjoyed this stream, this chat.
We got some ghosts.
You know,
we got a
it's-
little basketball school talk.
it's one of these weeks where both of our teams kind of played lower level teams. They coasted to victories. We knew
Did
they
what
were
you were
going to win.
supposed to do.
Did what you're supposed to do. There's not a ton to talk about. Oh, I will go over this. So did you hear it finally broke what happened with Chris Rodriguez?
Okay.
So you know he's coming back.
Yeah.
He's been cleared to play.
In what, 2 weeks?
At Ole
1
Miss.
week, something.
When they play Ole Miss, he's back. So here's what happened. And before we go, I'll explain this and I'll get your take on it, what you think. He was working at UK Healthcare. So, as a college athlete, you're allowed to work so many hours. Well, what was happening is, and now this wasn't just him. This had been happening with regular employees there and athletes that are working there, is they were paying them but not necessarily requiring them to work. So people would be like, don't worry about coming in. We'll just clock you in.
Okay.
And so people were clocking them in, but they weren't working. And it wasn't just the football players that were working there. It was other regular employees. So what happened was, and the reason this was so weird and kind of hush-hush, is if it was a normal company, like they were working at Walmart and that was happening, he would have just been able to pay the money back and play immediately. But since it's an organization attached to the university, it was there's a lot of muddy water there.
Yeah.
So the whole reason they were unsure is because it was pending NCAA investigation. Finally, they're like, okay, we clear him, let him serve his 4-game suspension, and be done with it.
I do that daily. People clock me in, and I don't do any work. I do it while I'm here.
Yeah,
I
but you don't get paid. Neither do I.
Whatever your wife pays me. So she doesn't have to talk to you about sports.
For everyone that's trying to reach out, tell them if they subscribe and turn on the notification bell, it'll give them a notification before the show comes on or as it comes on, so it can tell when we're about to go live.
So smash that like button, hit the bell with a sledgehammer, so that they will be notified when we're going live. That's what you're saying, Producer Daniel. Yeah, see, I watch a little too, guys.
So guys, what you do is, if you like this video, you like this channel, please click the thumbs up button.
Donkey slapped
and
the thumbs up button.
You can gently caress it, slap it, hit it. It's your phone. I don't care. But then the most important thing is you
roundhouse kick the bell, folks.
You go to that little bell over there and you click it. You put all notifications, not some, not no, all, and you click that bell and it keeps you in the loop, because we're not, we do these weekly streams, but we're going to add some stuff to this. Basketball season, we're going to have some fun stuff. We'll probably do some post-game stuff some this season, maybe, if something good happens, a crazy moment.
Well, I mean, if we're here watching the Tennessee-Kentucky game together, I don't see why not.
We might do a post-game show. We even talked about streaming us playing some NCAA.
Man, you're not supposed to lick the phone, but I appreciate your effort. Good.
Hey, if you want to lick it to like it, go for it. We need to put that on a shirt and sell it. That's something we need as merch.
This is how COVID is spread.
Well, to each their own.
Just kidding.
So, anyways, my lovely wife who sent me this, it actually said. Remember earlier when I was talking about Calipari and Kenny Payne, and I butchered it. I didn't know how.
What else is new?
So basically,
fake news.
Payne said, but to have an even playing field, what is a better state than this one? He's talking about the state in which they're in, because they produce a lot of basketball talent. So this is a basketball state, and it's the best of the best. Calipari just goes, careful. And he goes, and then Payne says, just a state, jokingly saying, I said state, not program. Then Calipari says, all I'm saying is our football team's 7th in the country, so let's be fair. And that's how it went, and everybody clapped and thought it was, that he acknowledged they're ranked 7th, which he fluffed it. They were ranked 9th.
Well,
so Calipari fashion, he gave them a couple rankings there. Shut up, producer.
Apparently, licking the like button is catching on quick.
Hey, you know what? If that's what it takes,
does that work, Daniel? Lick the like. Yeah, I do want a T-shirt that says
lick that like button. We need to come up with some good merch.
Not on John's computer, you freaking sicko.
Don't lick my computer, Daniel. Oh my God. Oh, this is.
I'm just curious if licking the like button works.
I need sanitary wipes.
He didn't actually lick it. It's okay.
Yeah, but he snotted all over everything just then, laughing.
It's on the table. Good Lord.
You know
we
what?
traded Sean for this?
Yeah, he's still better than Sean, though.
I'll agree. So let's go ahead. The young kids. How old are you guys? 20. Both of you are 20? Okay, so 20
So
and
20.
basically 21 are fantastic. Knowledgeable. Man, when they start talking about, I'm going to plug this into this, and then we're going to adjust it, I have no idea.
I mean,
I got no idea what we're doing. I'm just on my phone doing fantasy football and reading whatever articles I can about Tennessee football.
hey, isn't
watching
the
music
audio much
videos.
better this week too? Shout out to Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron's fantastic.
I mean, we never could get audio to sound like this, and
No, we really butchered the first couple of weeks, didn't we?
oh god,
It was so inconsistent.
But you know what? We set the bar low,
Uh-huh.
and all there is up.
Our first 2 weeks were like the Auburn football program.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Cameron has a YouTube channel. Cameron,
Oh.
what's your YouTube channel? Mr. Lamppost. Let me find it here, and I'll share it for everybody.
Mr. Lamppost.
He makes songs and stuff, and it's called Adrenaline.
It's spelled funny though.
Okay.
Okay. You might have to send it to me because I can't find it.
If you want me to, I can just chat.
Oh yeah.
I'm signed into that account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he's just going to chat if you want to go
Yeah.
see what our sound man Cam does. Sound man
Yeah,
Cam. I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, see what he does. He makes music and stuff. He does. I mean, it's some pretty impressive stuff. Like
He's
his
fantastic.
music.
And to be as young as he is, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything when I
I
was
heard you
20.
sing backup vocals too in that song, man. That's impressive. Yeah, Cameron. We're lucky. We're lucky we got two young people who want to help us out and be a part of this because
Yeah.
that's all it is. This is not paid. This is not like a business. This is
No.
just some dudes wanting to have a good time and hang out. And I think the show's going to succeed and do very well.
If
but
it doesn't, it's still just fun.
yeah, it's fun. It's like I said, I'm doing this to talk sports. I need someone to talk sports with, so I got all of you out there and Zach, and I can throw some trash over Daniel's way too.
That's where all the yelling
Cameron.
is directed at Daniel.
Yeah.
most
Anytime
of
we
the
yell,
time.
it's going to be directed at Daniel. There he
Yeah.
is, Mr. Lamppost there. Shameless plug. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach, you got anything to add before we call it a night?
Well, let's do some predictions.
Predictions. Oh, let's
Predictions.
pull up. Okay, let's start this every week.
We got 8 minutes because we always run to 10.
Oh, I always run to 10. So, Daniel, I need you to note this. So, pull your notes up and don't pull it up and go notes and then quit writing anything like you do. Like,
Is that what he does at work?
I don't know.
Is he
I
like
reckon.
that at work?
I don't know. I don't work with him.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I am too. Anyways, so let's pull up the games this week in the SEC, and I want you to say what our picks are. And if you all want to pick too, you can.
We said goodbye like 15 minutes ago.
Who cares? This thing's off the rails.
Fantasy football tips is don't do anything that I do because I am awful at this. I was telling them earlier, like, I had Tua Tagovailoa, and
I love hearing you say his name.
isn't that how you
I don't
say
know how you say it.
I'm
I
pretty
never
sure.
attempt it because I'll butcher
I
it.
got rid of him,
It's just Tua.
and then he went and scored like 38 points for someone else's fantasy football team. So
Let's just do the SEC.
I haven't checked my scores yet tonight. I've got 3 more positions playing tonight, so we'll see how I did. But yeah, just don't get your tips from me because I'm awful at it.
How do you say Nico's last name?
Iamaliava.
I have no idea.
Iamaliava.
Nice. Is that a Tennessee player?
He's a recruit coming in next year.
Cool.
5-star quarterback.
Is that $8 million quarterback
Yeah.
y'all got?
Yeah.
Nice. Hope it works out. I hope he's worth it.
Iamaliava.
Molly.
Yeah, there you
Okay. All right, we're running out of time here. Let's do these predictions.
go. All right.
All right, game 1, Georgia, Kent State.
I'm going to go Kent State by 97.
Golden Flashes, baby.
No, that's an awesome name.
It is.
No, Georgia's going to win that one by as much as they want to. They beat Samford by, 33?
Mhm.
And they could run up the score on anybody. I'm going to say Georgia by 30.
Missouri. Oh, I'm going to say Georgia, obviously. That's a given.
Yep.
Missouri, Auburn.
I'm gonna say Auburn, but I don't have a lot of faith in that pick because Auburn is sort of in a weird, funky phase. I think a lot of people are checked out on that, but I just think Missouri's terrible.
Auburn's favored by 7. By the way, Georgia's favored by 44.5 points.
Yeah.
So Auburn's favored by 7, but you know what? It's at Auburn. And those two teams are both struggling, so I got to give it the home field advantage.
Yeah.
Auburn, I'm going to pick Auburn on that one. I wanted to say Missouri, but I just can't.
No. I don't care how much. I'm just going with a win.
I think Auburn wins and covers.
For all I know, it could be 3-7.
So, next game, well, we're just going to win or lose on this week. Yeah, we're not going to get too technical with it. So, next game is Mississippi State Bowling Green.
Mississippi State, they've got Will Rogers. He throws for 400 yards a game. Mississippi State's going to win that one handedly.
They're favored by 30. So, we're going to skip our games. We'll do those last.
Okay.
Tulsa, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
I agree. I agree with Mississippi State, too. I want to see Bowling Green upset them.
Yeah, I do.
I think Ole Miss wins, but they don't cover. I think they're going to struggle with Tulsa. Now, here's a big one. Arkansas, Texas A&M.
I'm going to go Arkansas because I think you see a lot more consistency out of Arkansas than you do A&M. A&M, they've got all the talent in the world, but they're like the underachievement of the year every year.
Yeah.
That's kind of something Jimbo Fisher's known for. That's why I just don't think it's going to get any better. So I'm going to go Arkansas on that one.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going A&M. Daniel picked A&M in that one. I think that talent figures it out this week because it's at Texas A&M. I think Arkansas is a little overhyped. I know that KJ Jefferson's great. They got a good running game, but I think Texas A&M has a good defensive front, and I think if you can disturb Arkansas's backfield, you can shut their offense down. So I think Texas A&M is going to get it done and actually win that game. This is a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
Alabama, Vanderbilt.
We want Bama. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
That's going to be Bama by as much as they want. If I were Nick Saban in Alabama, I would never let the "we want Bama" chance go. Like for the next 50 years, you do nothing but drop 80 on them. Just don't ever let them forget it. Bury them with it.
I love your mentality, man. I love you when something annoys you. You're like, you know what? No, score 100 points on them. End of subject.
Listen, do you remember the COVID year when teams were ranked for absolute, like Harvard was ranked?
Yeah.
And what if one of those teams, because they don't play anybody all season long, 3 weeks in the season goes, we want Bama, but you couldn't sniff the laces on Nick Saban's shoes with the talent you've got on that team. Nick Saban could play all positions and beat your entire team.
True.
You don't want Bama, but Vandy doing that. Just don't let them live it down. Bury them.
You're still Vandy. They are 3-1 though. I mean, they
sure that offense is better than we thought it would be, but they're still not beating Bama, and I don't see them beating too many.
They might not. They might not win another game.
They may not.
They may not win another game.
I was surprised they won 3.
Yeah, easy non-conference schedule. That's what I got to say. New Mexico at LSU.
I'm going to go with LSU just because it's SEC, but they're not looking as good as I thought that they were going to. And I don't know if it's a Brian Kelly thing or a talent thing. Going in the season, we were being told that LSU might have the most talented roster, in the SEC, and it just hasn't really come to fruition.
Yeah, Brian Kelly's a good coach. I mean, he's annoying as hell.
Where he's been.
I think he can do well there. Of course, they're going to win this game. Be 3-1. I pick LSU as well on that one. Charlotte, South Carolina.
I'm going South Carolina.
This is my lock of the week.
Oh, your lock.
This is my lock.
This is guaranteed money.
Charlotte is notorious for being giant killers.
Yeah.
Especially mid to lower level SEC teams that think they're good.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think Charlotte's going to pull the upset.
Okay.
Now I'm probably going to eat crow next week, but I'm it's more hope.
Oh, I hope they don't win, but I'm gonna say if Spencer Rattler will decide that game.
Yeah.
If he comes out and plays really well and smart football, they will win that game. But if he comes out trying to beat Charlotte as a world beater, then I think they will lose that game. I think he makes too many mistakes. He's too reckless with everything that he does.
Mm-hmm.
He will be the deciding factor in that game. If he plays smart, they'll win. If he tries to go and ball out and carry the rest of his untalented team, then I don't think that they will.
Anyways, so let's get to Daniel. Quit being a distraction. We'll do Kentucky first because Tennessee game is a much bigger game. Northern Illinois at Kentucky.
Kentucky's got that one in the bag. They almost lost to Vandy. Your defense is much better than Vandy's, and your offense.
They did lose to Vandy.
I thought they beat Vandy.
No,
I thought they
Vandy
came
come back and
late.
beat them. Seeing their starting
okay.
quarterback got hurt too, and he's out.
Okay,
So
I had that wrong. Listen
Yeah.
to me.
So yeah, I picked Kentucky by a big number.
Yeah.
I think as long as they take care of business, that's all there is. That's all there'll be to it. So the big game of the week, Florida at Tennessee. Zach,
With all my heart and soul, I want Tennessee to win this game, and I'm going to pick Tennessee to win this game.
you have to.
I think that you've seen enough from the other teams to know what works with Florida and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you saw enough from your defense during the Pitt game to know that your defense can put up a fight against a big team. Pitt had a good team. They are a good team. So I'm going to pick Tennessee to win this, but I don't think it's going to be one of those 45 to 17 games. I don't see that. Florida has a fantastic secondary. They've always got a good defense. It doesn't matter what's going on. But their success really rides on the shoulders of Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like if you make him stay in the pocket and just throw, if you contain him into the pocket, he's not the same quarterback that he is.
I mean, Kentucky
running.
gave you a blueprint.
Yeah, they
They
did.
did.
They did.
I thought a lot about this week.
You about to hurt my feelings.
Well, let me finish. I ain't gonna give you
Please
any.
not hurt my feelings.
So Tennessee Florida's been kind of a thorn in the side of Tennessee. Some might say that Florida is to you what Tennessee is to Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think this is the end of that run and that streak. I think Tennessee's going to beat Florida. Not only beat them, I think they're going to handle business pretty well. Yeah, Florida has good secondary, but y'all got 3 really talented wide receivers and a quarterback who I know he struggled a little bit, but I think this is where he's going to get back to last year's Hendon Hooker. And, I mean, he's got the experience. He's got the capability. He's going to bring it. Tennessee's going to bring it and probably win by 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that because I'm a Tennessee fan. I like I said, I can't stand Tennessee, but I feel like this is the year. Because here's what I want to see. I don't think you're beating Alabama.
No.
But I want to see 6-1 Tennessee against 7-0 Kentucky. I think that's setting up to be a wild time, man. But that's our picks. Yeah, I picked Tennessee over Florida. So
I appreciate that.
you're welcome, man. But I'm not doing it as a friend. I just truly believe.
No, I know.
I truly believe Tennessee. And again, we're not experts. We don't claim to be.
I do.
This is just our opinions.
And in fact, anytime I get to say I'm a sports expert, I say it.
Okay, Zach's a sports expert. I am not. I don't claim that. But guys, thank you for watching. It's been, I didn't know how tonight's episode was going to go. We didn't have a lot, but I think it went pretty well. I mean, I had a good time.
Tonight was going to be a short stream,
And it wound up being a long
yeah,
stream.
Certainly was not. Huh?
That was the
Yeah,
first one we asked.
Yeah. Are you even? Do you work here?
It's in bold. Never mind.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, boy. Anyways, guys,
Daniel.
big shout out to Daniel and Cameron
Yeah.
for helping us out here.
Appreciate it, guys.
And big shout out to Zach here. But, guys, thank y'all for watching. We appreciate you. And go Cats.
Yeah, go Vols.
All right.